Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dr. Arun, and in today's video I'm going to tell you that what is the amount that you get on being a PhD or master's scholarship in South Korea, and what is the cost of living in South Korea for a month for PhD or master's students, and how do we manage that normally. I'll be giving you an average estimation of the monthly expenses and also an average amount of money that a student gets through the scholarship. So this is not the exact amount that you will get if you get a PhD scholarship in South Korea. In the beginning, I'd like to give a disclaimer as all the information is based upon my own experiences or opinion developed by surveying different foreigner students who are studying in Korea for a period of time. First, I'll talk about the scholarship money, that how much we get on being a PhD or master's scholarship. So for that, there are two major types of scholarships. First one is the Korean government scholarship, and that is also known as a KGSP scholarship. And the other one you can say is the professor funded scholarship, that is further could be of two categories. First one is basically the research grants that a professor gets, so he pays you through those research grants. And second one could be the BK or Brain Korea project, that is a Korean government scholarship program, but for that you need to be affiliated with the university first, and then your professor files your application for this scholarship. First, I'll tell you about how much money you get through the Korean government scholarship. Korean government scholarship program, that is a long-term program, and on that you come here for the first year and you only learn Korean for the first year, and then you start your program, either master's or PhD, and you go to your specific university. And Korean government scholarship pays you a fixed amount of 1 million Korean won, that is approximately to like $900, and it stays the same for your next 3 years or 2 years, whatever the period of your degree is. Now I'll talk about the professor funded scholarship, that is further divided into two categories, like one is the BK and the second one is the specific that comes through the research projects run by professor. If your professor applies for the BK scholarship, that is another government scholarship program, so for that you will be getting like 1.3 million Korean wons per month. Or if your professor doesn't apply for your BK scholarship, he gives you through his own research project, so that varies. I have seen some students getting like 1 million Korean won per month, or there are some students who get like 2 million or more than that. So it totally depends upon professor and whatever work you are doing and what level of study you are doing, like how much senior you are in your degree, and that's decided by professor. So this one was for PhD student. For master students, the money is a bit lesser, but not too much. Like a master students on average gets like $100 or $200 less than a PhD students per month. As now you have got an idea that how much money a student makes by his PhD scholarship. So now I'll talk about the cost of living in South Korea. So the cost of living mainly includes two things. First, your residence, and second one is your food expenses. Cost of residence may vary on the basis of the place where you live and how you live. Also, the food expenses will also vary on the basis of your preferences. For residential cost, I'll talk about few options that you can take for your residence. First one is the university dorm. Second one is living on your own in an apartment, and then apartment expense also varies on the basis of like it's a studio apartment or a one room or a 2-room apartment. So to start with the dormitory expense, so this doesn't include food expenses, so I'll tell you that how much is the cost of living in a dorm room in South Korean universities. In most of the South Korean universities, you can get a dorm room that is mostly present inside the university campus, and it costs around like 300,000 to 500,000 Korean wons per month, and this is excluding food. At the same time, an apartment outside the university building, that totally depends in which area of South Korea you're living. If you are living in Seoul, so definitely it's gonna be an expensive thing, because Seoul is an expensive city as compared to other cities of South Korea. So I'll tell you an average range of expense that you do on your residence owning an apartment. If it is a studio apartment, it might cost like 300,000 to 500,000 Korean wons. At the same time, if it is a 1-room apartment or 2-room apartment, it may cost like more than 500,000 Korean wons per month. Now coming towards food expenses, so that totally depends upon your preferences. The cheapest meal in a Korean restaurant would be like around 5,000 Korean wons, that is roughly like $3 to $5. The most expensive one-time meal could go like above 50,000 Korean wons, that is like above $50. But the best way to save your expenses and to manage your food money is to cook by yourself. That is cheaper and even healthier. Food expenses we can divide into two categories. First one, eating outside, and second one, cooking by yourself at home. So definitely cooking by yourself at home is way cheaper than eating outside. I'll give you a rough estimate of like how much it's gonna cost you if you're eating outside and how much it's gonna cost you if you are cooking by yourself. For eating outside, on average, it might cost you around 500,000 wons, that is around $500. And if you cook by yourself, that expense goes to the half of the amount that you spend by eating outside. And that's all for today's video, and if you have any question, you can comment down below and I'll be answering those questions as soon as possible.